What's happening, guys? Welcome back. Let's talk about the Francis Ngannou debacle as far as him finding a new home. It seems like things are not going well for him as far as like securing a contract, a lucrative contract he's happy with the terms and conditions he also would be happy with. So there's been a few promotions and promotion figureheads coming out touching on the negotiations with Francis. I'll drop a few. So recently, the BKFC president Feldman stated that Francis had unrealistic expectations as far as like pay, what they could afford. What those numbers were, have no idea. One CEO, Chowdhury, stated that they offered him $20 million guaranteed, but it wasn't enough because he had some other non-financial terms that they weren't on the same page with. One of them being dictating opponent's pay and a seat on the board. The board seat doesn't really make sense, and I think dictating opponent's pay was kind of like misconstrued a bit, because I did see a follow-up comment by Ariel Helwani who spoke to Francis, and it seems like from Francis's angle, he just wants fighters to be paid well. So like some minimum base pay for them, which I honestly think is pretty admirable, because he's putting himself in a position where he's just not taking the well-paid contracts, the money offers, and he's looking out for his fellow fighters. I like Francis. I think Francis is a pretty honorable guy without meeting him, but based off of his comments, his actions throughout the years. Also, I admit that's just my personal feelings, my feel for him. I think I'm a good judge of character. I think Francis is overall a good dude. His story is also incredible. It's very inspiring. He comes from super humble beginnings, actually less than humble, dire beginnings, to go through what he's went through and then to reach the pinnacle of the sport, the heavyweight championship. Just amazing. Really displays his character, mental toughness, perseverance. Francis doesn't strike me as a liar. So, I take what these CEOs and presidents, organizations say with a grain of salt, because there's two sides to the story. Now, do I think Francis has to kind of taper down a bit on his requests? Yes, because at this point he's kind of hurting himself. I think what he's doing is super admirable, but you only have so many years in your fighting prime. He's getting older and older every day. I think he's like 36 now. The longer it takes for him to secure a contract and fight somewhere, the more his personal stock is going to drop. What I hope for Francis, honestly, is that he secures a really big boxing match, even if it's just one fight, and he makes a nice chunk of money. And of course, before he hangs up his MMA gloves, I want to see him in a solid organization, competing a few times, maybe winning the belt, then he could ride off into the sunset. It would be cool to see some changes implemented due to Francis sticking his ground, but meaningful changes take a while. They have to be done incrementally. And I think right now Francis is asking a little bit too much overall. It sucks that it seems like the UFC weren't budging on his demands, but truthfully, it would be nice for Francis and the UFC to reconcile. It seems like he had a good contract as far as like pay. If they could budge a little bit, if there could be a little bit of wiggle room on both sides, they could renegotiate. I would love to see Francis back in the UFC. For one particular reason, the Jon Jones fight. That would be huge. I know Jon Jones is the heavyweight champion right now, and you can speculate how that fight would go, whether or not Jones is better than Ngannou at heavyweight, but the fact is that Francis left as heavyweight champion. He wasn't defeated. So in the eyes of many, he's still the heavyweight champ. But guys, let me know in the comment section, what do you think about this whole situation? What do you think Francis should do? Do you think he should taper down a little bit with the requests, with the stipulations that he's looking for? Do you think what he's doing is admirable? Do you think he should maybe contact the UFC, see if they could renegotiate again? I want to read all your general thoughts. Thanks for watching the video. If you like the content, don't forget to hit that like button and share. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much, and I'll catch you all on the next segment.